Hey everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today I'm very excited to be showing you some really cool new stuff that I received. So I'll start off with my journal. This is called the Blue Edition from DINA WAKLEY and it has got denim in it. Woo! So I think they've replaced the watercolor paper with a thicker watercolor paper from the small journal, which I adore. And it's also got this lighter colour burlap, I suppose, in it as well. So there's only 3 different substrates in this one, but it is divine. So I love this because I love my blues. And the other really exciting thing that I'm going to be using today are these new gloss sprays. So it's gloss acrylic spray, so it is spray that is permanent, which if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know I have a love-hate relationship with sprays, because I love how you can apply them and the techniques you can do them, but I can't do layers with them or apply glue over them. This has solved all the problems. So I'm going to be showing you some really cool techniques, such as how to finally use the white collage tissues from DINA WAKLEY. You can see that beautiful acrylic paint on the background and how it comes through the front and just gives you a really cool effect. This is another example of a page using the gloss acrylic sprays in the background. So you can use your stencils in a different way. You can colour your white tissues with them. It just looks amazing. So we're going to be exploring these products today to make a journal page similar to this one. So I'm starting in the new journal on one of the cotton rag pages, and you can see I'm setting up my area with some extra paper. Now with any spray there's always going to be overspray, and I've got some paper around just to protect the surface. These are permanent when dry. It is an acrylic paint in a spray form, so just be aware that if it does go and stuff around you, that it will be permanent when it dries. So you can get rid of it, particularly on a glass plate. I'll show you a trick for cleaning that off afterwards, but if you don't want it covering everything, just be prepared to cover your surface. So you can see there I'm applying all the inks wet on wet, and they're marbling and blending together, and I really wanted that flow happening. One of the great things about these pages is you can actually drip them down the page and do all sorts of really cool things with them. Because they are acrylic paint, so in a spray form, you can dry them to layer them up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm drying off the first layer. Obviously I applied the first layer wet on wet, and they all blended together. This time I'm going to dry off the page so I can add some stencils and some more things over the top. So that means the next colour that I'm going to apply isn't going to mix in with the wet colours underneath. It's going to stay separate. So I'm using another one of Dina's stencils, and I'm using the lime green spray this time instead. And spraying it on, you can see it stays really nice and crisp on top of the dried acrylic paint from below. And I'm using the excess paint that's on the stencil to put onto my page, just to add some extra interest. And again, I'm drying it off. So anything that I'm going to layer over the top, I'm going to dry off in between. You'll notice when I'm using the spray bottles, I shake them up before I use them, and I'm also, in most cases, I do forget, because I am terrible at doing this, wiping off the nozzle as I go along, just so it doesn't block. And that's one of the things with some spray bottles I do have a bit of an issue with. So really good if you've got a wipe, that you just wipe it off as you go along. It'll make sure that you've got really good spray each time. So I'm going in with the magenta and again spraying, and you'll notice I'm using the excess paint off my stencils. Now for those of you who are new to my channel, I don't clean my stencils, or not very well anyway. You noticed I did actually rub off a little bit with the wet wipe there. It doesn't personally bother me. I've never had an issue with it. However, if you do like having clean stencils, I would highly recommend that as soon as you use this stencil with this spray, that you clean it off straight away, because it will set, it will become permanent, because again it is an acrylic paint. So just be aware of that. If you want to have clean stencils, clean them off straight away, have a bucket of water maybe sitting next to you, you can just put them into. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to put some white back on the page. I'm a terror for completely covering my page with white, getting rid of all my white space. So my solution to this is to do what I usually do and then go back at the end and add some white in. I find that for me personally, that's my best way of being able to control it. So I'm just using some white paint. If you had gesso, you could use gesso, it really doesn't matter. I'm just stenciling it in really randomly across my page just to give my eye somewhere to sort of sit. Now, the sprays and the paints work beautifully together, so it really is obviously a match made in heaven. The colours obviously match really well as well. The only difference you will find with them is that the spray acrylics are gloss. Whereas the paints themselves are a more matte finish. So one of the great things I found about these sprays is that you can spray them over the white paper, collage papers from DINA WAKLEY, and you get a beautiful, beautiful result. I'm spraying on the back side of the tissue paper. It has a more matte finish, so the paint is actually going to absorb into it. Now you can see there it's got that really beautiful gloss finish, and it's slightly wrinkling the page too. It does. That again doesn't really bother me. It just adds to a really cool effect. Now you could just do this over normal tissue paper and you could get some beautiful collage prints to tear up and to put into your page. You can see here that I've got this now beautiful effect on my papers, and that white printing just pops on the page now, and it's going to blend in with my background really, really easily. So what I've been doing as I've been using these sprays, if I get overspray or if I know I'm going to be dripping or puddling those sprays, I actually now am keeping all my white tissue papers, or the tissue papers have got white printing, in the back of my journal, so I can just pull them out and have it all sitting there, and then I've got pre-decorated tissue papers to use in another project. So I'm finding it a really, really useful way that I'm not wasting anything. So all I'm doing is now quickly going around and fussy cutting out my figure so I can stick it onto my page. So using the colours that I've kind of used in the background is really handy as well, because it just blends in beautifully with what you've got. So I'm cutting out both because I'm not 100% sure which one I'm going to use. And the excess that I'm cutting off, because it's got all those beautiful collage bits on it, I am keeping them. Now, over the next few weeks, I'm going to have lots of these new videos going up. I've got really carried away with all these, using these new products, and I've nearly finished the first signature of my journal already. So if you are interested in seeing how I've been using it and all the different things I've been using, and seeing things like those offcuts that I've just cut off, I put them into another collage later on. All those videos will be coming up shortly. So if you're not a subscriber and you're interested in this sort of artwork, please hit like and subscribe, and you'll see lots coming up in the next few weeks. So I'm just using some gel medium to glue down my tissue paper, and you can see that it just glues down beautifully and goes almost translucent on the page. Having the acrylic sprays on the background, because they are more opaque, really helps with that illusion of having that white drawing on the page. And it's just something that I've really loved playing with. And for something really quick and easy, this video hasn't been sped up all that much. It took me about half an hour, I think, to do this whole page, because using spray inks is just, or spray paints, are just so much easier and quicker to dry and so on, because you're putting on a much thinner layer of it. So it works really, really quickly. The stamp that I put on it says the strongest souls have the softest heart, and that's from one of Dina's new release stamp sets as well. It comes with the beautiful 3 beautiful sketchy pictures of males, which I really love because we don't get very many male pictures or stamps, so I'm using that. This is my trick for cleaning up the overspray, just using some hand sanitizer. So spritz on my hand sanitizer, rub it in. You can get little scraper for your mat, but I just use a wet wipe and then some paper towel to rub it off, and it all comes off. If there's something really stubborn, you can use a little scraper to get it off, but it's a great way of getting rid of any overspray. So here's a close-up of the final page. You can see the gloss, you can sort of see the shine from the light that I've got on it. This is the final piece as it went in the page. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you stay tuned to see all the other things that we've been making with these new products, and obviously please check out Ranger and DINA WAKLEY's blog and so on, because she will have a lot of stuff coming out for Creativation explaining more about the products and the how those products can be used in different ways. Until next time, bye for now.